Hey, hey, Wild West Adventures! This video goes out to Mike Talley, who told me about this very interesting site, this cemetery or the graves of three suspected horse rustlers out in the middle, near Heber, out in the middle of the forest, in the Apache-Sitgreaves Forest. So thanks, Mike. Keep them coming.
James Warren Stott was born on September 13, 1863 in Massachusetts. Growing up in a rather urban area, Jamie became enamored with the frontier that he had read about, and he dreamed of moving out west to pursue the cowboy way of life. His father, James Stott Sr., was the superintendent of Talbot Woolen Mills, which was owned by Thomas Talbot. Talbot was also a shareholder in the Aztec Land and Cattle Company, which operated a horse ranch in Texas. Thanks to his father's connections, young Jamie moved out to Texas to begin working on the ranch. Soon after, the Aztec Land and Cattle Company purchased some 1 million acres in Arizona and moved some 40,000 cattle out that way to graze. The brand they used was said to resemble a chuck wagon implement, so the Arizona faction came to be called the Hash Knife Outfit. Jamie headed west into Arizona in 1885 with the hopes of working for the Hash Knife Outfit. Little did he know, however, that members of this outfit were aligned with the Grahams, and that the Grahams were involved in a little thing called the Pleasant Valley War. Once Jamie got settled in Arizona, he decided to start up a cattle ranch of his own. His father sent him his inheritance, and with it Jamie purchased 160 acres of land in the Mogollon Rim area and began to improve the land. What he didn't know was that this land was also coveted by sheep herders. One in particular was a certain lawman by the name of James Houck. In addition to being deputy sheriff, Houck also owned stock in a sheep herding operation and was aligned with the other face of the Pleasant Valley War, the Tewksburys. Houck had allegedly boasted publicly that he would, one day, raise his sheep on the land owned by Jamie Stott. One day in 1888, Jamie noticed that one of his horses had gone missing, and he went into the Tonto Basin to retrieve it. He was later arrested by Sheriff Houck for horse thieving. The justice of the peace determined that the horse's original owner was in fact a man by the name of Jack Laffer, but acknowledged that there was not enough evidence to convict Jamie of horse thieving. On August 5th of that same year, 3 men ambushed and shot Jake Loeffner in Tonto Basin. Sheriff Houck immediately pointed his finger at Jamie Stott and his friends Jimmy Scott and William Jefferson Wilson. A week later, on August 12th, Houck showed up at Jamie's cabin and told him he was there to arrest him and his friend Wilson. When Jamie asked to see the arrest warrant, Houck claimed that he had left it at Bear Springs, where he had spent the night. Jamie accepted this and even invited Houck in to have breakfast with him. Soon after, according to witnesses Lamont Clymer and Alfred Ingram, Sheriff Houck and his 2 captives departed. When Houck arrived in Holbrook, however, he claimed that he had been held at gunpoint by 50 masked men who had taken possession of Stott and Wilson. He also claimed that the men, collectively known as the Committee of 50, also had in their possession Jimmy Scott. 3 days later, on August 15th, the bodies of Jamie Stott, Jimmy Scott, and William Wilson were found still hanging from a ponderosa tree. The bodies were cut down and buried in a nearby valley.
All right, Wild West Adventures, I believe I have found it. I am going to cross over this to get a little closer. Basically, the story here is that there were 3 men, Jamie Stott, Jim Scott, and Billy Wilson. And they were suspected of horse thieving, although never actually tried. Well, they never got a chance to. So, lawman James Houck, I believe he was a deputy sheriff, he came up here and arrested them and said he was going to take them into, I believe, Prescott for trial. What he said is that a group of masked men, known as the Committee of 50, intercepted him and his posse, forcibly took the 3 men and lynched them from a single ponderosa pine tree, and then just left the bodies to rot. Some speculate that Sheriff Houck was in on it and was told to go ahead and take the men in order for them to get caught by the posse of vigilantes. So this is it. We finally made it.
This remote burial ground can be found at GPS coordinates 34.3056700 and negative 110.7333300. In a nutshell, you are going to want to take the Payson-Heber Highway until you get to Rim Road, follow Rim Road southeast, and you will end up near a place called Hangman's Trail. You'll park right there at the trailhead, and then it is about 1.5 miles inward. I would highly recommend taking a GPS because it is quite hard to find.
All right, Wild West Adventures, it's been a pleasure coming out here for you. If you like this video and would like to see more, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe this video. Catch you on down the trail.
All right, folks, so I had my ghost reader running this entire time, and it had not said anything for the last hour or so. But right when I was done filming, unfortunately, I had already shut the camera off, it shouted out 2 words, August and innocent. So take that with a grain of salt. Let me know, do you guys believe in ghosts?